A record plays in a remote cabin as we get glimpses of a man drowning a woman and burying a body. The man, John Young-ha, runs a peaceful vacation rental in the mountains. Despite pressure from his partner, Young-chae, to cut corners, Young-ha strives to run the place responsibly. Yoon Bo-min, a former police officer, returns to the station where she worked 20 years ago. She drops off a box of old belongings, including a picture of her first case. Around this time, we meet Sang-jun, who ran a vacation rental in 2001, the same period as Bo-min's case. He worked hard alongside his partner, Woon-gyung, to build the business. In the present, Young-ha helps a mysterious woman, Sung-ah, and her child, Si-hyun, who seem fearful of water. Si-hyun's toy dog and a record player become important details. Sung-ae plays a record from Young-ha's wife's collection, the same one we hear at the start, which seems to trigger an eerie rainstorm. We flash back to 2001, where Sang-jun welcomes a guest to room 403 at his motel. Bo-min, still a junior officer, gets a cryptic call from Yoon-gyung. The police rush to the motel, but Sang-jun is at the supermarket. Reporters swarm the scene when he returns, and it's revealed that the guest, Ji Hyang-chil, is a serial killer who murdered a woman while Sang-jun was asleep. In the present, Young-ha finds an envelope of money and a bloody record where Sung-ah stayed, leaving him in shock. Si-hyun goes out to play with his toy dog in the rain, but something is off with his mother, Sung-ah. She seems distracted and disturbed. After dinner, we see Sung-ah, covered in blood, put on the Bobby Bland record and head outside, leaving us to wonder if something happened to Si-hyun. Young-ha, meanwhile, meets Bo-min, who's now a police captain. Although he's still shaken and has blood on his fingers, he chooses not to tell her about Sung-ah or the blood, keeping it to himself. In 2001, after the body at the motel is removed, a rookie Bo-min witnesses Eun-gyung's collapse. Sang-jun is racked with guilt, as he had helped the serial killer Hyang-chil earlier. Hyang-chil is soon arrested, and Sang-jun watches him reenact his crime at the vacation rental using a mannequin. In the present, Young-ha cleans Sung-ah's room and notices the overwhelming scent of bleach. He finds dashcam footage from Young-chae's car, and though we don't see it, Young-ha's reaction suggests it's bad news. He decides to act normal, but discovers missing towels outside Sung-ah's room. Bo-min arrives at the rental, and though she senses something is off, Young-ha says nothing. After she leaves, he burns the towels and locks the basement again. In 2001, Woon-gyung struggles with the motel's murder motel reputation. Business is failing, and when Sang-jun suggests selling the place, Yoon-gyung walks away. Sang-jun, overwhelmed, smashes the motel and has an emotional breakdown. He later shuts down the motel, while Bo-min, now focused on the rental, keeps a photo of it on her desk. In the present, Young-ha prepares for his daughter's arrival, but as Bo-min heads to the rental, it's revealed the woman arriving is Sung-ah. In the 2000s timeline, Gi-ho rushes to deliver bottles to bullies, who mock him. Meanwhile, in the present, Sung-ah returns to Young-ha's rental. Although his daughter, Uiseon, visits, she leaves after dinner, allowing Sung-ah to stay. Young-ha seems distracted as he works the barbecue, and Sung-ah appears unsettled as she eyes the vinyl player. After dinner, Sung-ah dons a black dress, asks to use the vinyl player, but Young-ha declines, hinting at his recent cleanup of the bloodied record. Later, Sung-ah dives into the pool despite her past fear of water. This confuses Young-ha, who begins questioning her true purpose. In the past, Yoon-gyung and Sang-jun struggle with the failing motel business. Yoon-gyung attempts to clean up her act, throwing out her alcohol, but her son, Ji-ho, unknowingly takes her sleeping pills. This leads to a medical emergency when Ji-ho collapses in front of the bullies. Meanwhile, Sang-jun's attempts to sell the motel are thwarted by the developer's ties to the student's family, further pushing him to the edge. As the motel's reputation worsens, Yoon-gyung suffers from PTSD. Ji-ho's connection to the Hyang-chil case becomes evident, and the motel's story attracts the attention of reporters. Dong-chan, a well-intentioned investigative reporter, proposes an interview to humanize Sang-jun's struggles, but Sang-jun refuses. In the present, Sung-ah prepares a meal for Young-ha, echoing the dish she once made for Si-hyun. She claims she couldn't stop thinking about him. Young-ha wakes up on the floor, finds Sung-ah gone, and rushes to the police station. He discovers a note with a photo of his daughter, her face circled. In the past, Bo-min finds Eun-gyung dead in room 403, with soju and pills nearby, leaving Sang-jun in shock. In the past, Sang-jun shows his family, Yoon-gyung and Gi-ho, the motel before they buy it. This moment becomes bittersweet, as it ties back to Yoon-gyung's suicide note. In the letter, she expresses her desire for peace and reassures Gi-ho of her love for him. The tragic memory haunts Sang-jun. Sang-jun later confronts Hyang-cheol, the serial killer, in prison. Sang-jun demands to know why his life has been hell since Hyang-cheol appeared. Hyang-cheol cryptically responds by questioning what Sang-jun was doing on the bridge that night. This exchange leaves Sang-jun more disturbed, and Bo-min, who has been helping Sang-jun, appears increasingly fascinated by these dangerous cases. Her excitement over solving murders has earned her the nickname It. In the present, Young-ha frantically searches for his daughter, Ui-seon, fearing for her safety after Sung-ah's recent appearance. However, Sung-ah eludes him, and he suspects she may have killed Se-hyun, though he keeps this suspicion to himself. After returning to the motel, Young-ha becomes obsessed with discovering Sung-ah's secrets. He takes her laptop to a repair shop, but is told that breaking into it would mean wiping its contents, an unhelpful option. Strange occurrences follow Young-ha's return to the motel. Plants are mysteriously delivered, art portraits are found destroyed in the pool, and Young-ha finds medicine in Sung-ah's car. When Sung-ae calls removal men to dispose of his furniture, Young-ha snaps. He confronts her at the pool, nearly drowning her in a fit of rage. Though Sung-ah survives, her calm demeanor cracks. She mocks Young-ha's weak accusations, pointing out that he has no solid proof. She reminds him that he didn't go to the police and, after hiding the truth for a year, he could also be charged as an accomplice. Sung-ah coldly declares that she will continue with her plans, while Young-ha must stay away from her. Their confrontation doesn't end here though. Young-ha secretly records their conversation and still has her laptop. But when he heads to the police, he hesitates, knowing that turning her in could implicate him as well. As he reconsiders, Sung-ah suddenly drives into him, leaving the conflict wide open. Bo-min learns that Mr. Kim, the ghostwriter for Hyang-cheol, has committed suicide, though it doesn't seem to be Hyang-cheol's doing. This prompts Bo-min to dig deeper, as the case links to the mysterious Lakeview. In the past, Bo-min had solved a tricky case by looking for what's missing, a method she uses to suspect everyone around her. She reflects on her job and how small behavioral changes in people hint at hidden truths. In the present, Sung-ah confronts Young-ha at the hospital, where he's getting treated. When he returns home, he finds that Sung-ah has disposed of all his evidence. The two clash over control of the motel, with Sung-ae playing mind games and questioning Young-ha's loyalty. Sung-ah's new blue sports car stands out as a curious detail. Later, she faces trouble when a family arrives at the vacation rental, and police question her presence there, as she has no proof of booking. Young-ha continues his effort to push Sung-ah out, manipulating situations like the laundry and extra bookings. Sung-ae becomes increasingly frustrated with the noise and chaos at the motel, especially when children disrupt her work. Young-ha continues to escalate matters, even refusing to help when Sung-ah threatens his daughter. Meanwhile, Bo-min investigates the suicide of the ghostwriter. CCTV footage points to an unidentified person, but there's no solid evidence. Bo-min isn't convinced and digs further. Officer Kim Seon-tae, who has a soft spot for Sung-ah, warns Young-ha about his treatment of her. Tensions rise when Young-ha and Sung-ah clash over motel ownership, and Sung-ae uses her relationship with Seon-tae to distract him from confronting Young-ha. Later, Young-ha's actions lead to Seon-tae's arrest. Bo-min talks to him at the station and senses something off, realizing there's more to the story. Young-ha, frustrated, offers Seon-tae a refund and promises he won't return to the rental. The conflict between the two continues. with Sung-ah eventually confronting Seon-tae in the woods, while Young-ha agrees to sell the motel to her. Bo-min meets Sung-ah at the motel, now covered in mud, as she prepares to solve the case and expose the truth. Gi-ho, in the past, finds himself at the motel when Hyang Cheol arrives with the body of a woman. Hyang Cheol tells him to disappear and act like a ghost, which Gi-ho does, running through the rain with Hyang Cheol's hat, heading to his mother's house. The haunting images stay with him, and he keeps the hat hidden, marking the beginning of an obsession with Hyang Cheol. Gi-ho, now living in his aunt's deteriorating home, practices his shooting in a shopping center and becomes fixated on seeking revenge on Hyang Cheol. He and Jung-do share a bond driven by a shared goal: to make Hyang Cheol pay. Meanwhile, Gi-ho, unable to move past the trauma, encounters Young-ha after a hospital visit, and tensions rise as he points a gun at him, demanding answers. Young-ha, waking up in the hospital, is worried about his rental property, Lakeview, and its potential connection to a murder involving Sai-hyun. He considers selling to Sung-ah, but decides to visit the place himself. Bo-min struggles to reach him, while Sung-ah, in a rush, drives off in a muddy sports car, only to be confronted by Bo-min, who begins investigating. Young-ha eventually visits Sang-jun, who is in a retirement home, losing his grip on reality and still believing he's at the motel. Sang-jun warns Young-ha about trusting anyone and hints that Gi-ho may have played a role in Hyang Cheol's death. It becomes clear that Young-ha has been following Gi-ho and plans to confront him. Gi-ho, however, believes Young-ha is part of the police, which heightens the tension. Gi-ho, distracted by a call from his uncle to make his mark, prepares to shoot Hyang Cheol in cold blood at the hospital where his mother lies dying. Just as he fires, Hyang Cheol, sensing something is wrong, falls to the ground, and Gi-ho misses. The chaos intensifies, with Hyang Cheol seizing the chance to escape, and a gunfight ensues. Gi-ho eventually shoots Hyang Cheol and escapes, only to find Young-ha waiting for him at home, holding an airsoft gun. Yak-ho, overwhelmed by the trauma of his past, including his mother's suicide, contemplates ending it all. Young-ha intervenes, questioning his motives and offering support. Gi-ho, feeling isolated, is reminded that he's not alone. Young-ha calls Sang-jun, and together they plan to help Gi-ho through this dark time. In a moment of clarity, Gi-ho and Young-ha burn the letters connected to the motel, symbolizing an attempt to move on from the past. Young-ha decides to cover for Gi-ho, creating an alibi, and they devise a plan to avoid jail time. However, the surveillance cameras at the hospital may pose a threat. Young-ha gets a call from Sung-ah, who is covered in blood and demands his return, leaving the situation uncertain and ominous. Young-ha is in the hospital, blaming himself for the chaos unfolding around him. Meanwhile, Sung-ae finds herself tangled in a confrontation with her estranged partner, Jae-sik, who just got out of prison. Their heated exchange reveals that Jae-sik believes Sung-ah is responsible for their child's death and accuses her of killing Sai-hyun. In a moment of rage, Sung-ah admits her guilt and is attacked by Jae-sik, leaving her bloodied and unconscious. After the incident, she causes a scene at the art gallery before heading to a motel, where her erratic behavior escalates. She fights with Young-chae, stabbing him and beating him senseless. Later, she buys supplies for a dark plan, while Bo-min, who has been closely observing, becomes suspicious of Sung-ah's actions. Sung-ah then deceives Uiseon, claiming she and Young-ha killed Si-hyun. But when Uiseon tries to save Young-chae, Sung-ah strikes back, choking Uiseon to death. Sung-ah continues her chaotic spree, leaving a trail of destruction, and appears to have a red suitcase with Uiseon inside. The tension culminates when Young-ha confronts Sung-ah, and after a tense standoff, he rescues Young-chae, who is severely injured. Bo-min, who has been following the trail, corners Young-ha with questions about what's been happening. As Sung-ae prepares to escape, Young-ha sets her up, leading to her arrest. In the end, Young-ha feels responsible for the entire ordeal, but Bo-min reassures him. Just as things seem to settle, Young-ha suspects there's more to Sung-ah's crimes. The suspense builds as someone retrieves a rifle from the motel basement. hinting that the nightmare might not be over just yet. Bo-min reflects on Young-ha's belief that Sung-ga murdered Si-hyun, a weight that's been looming over the series. Despite her lawyer's arrival, Sung-a remains tight-lipped, knowing she'll get out soon. Bo-min pushes to search a cornfield after seeing a reaction from Sung-ga when the area is mentioned. She challenges her superior, the chief, who is reluctant but eventually agrees to the search after Bo-min presents evidence. Sung-ae is released from detention and upon learning of the police search, burns all her clothes in a laundrette. Meanwhile, Choi discovers Seontae's dismembered body in the cornfield, not Si-hyun's. The search continues, and Young-chae, now involved, notices numerous missed calls on his phone. As the police rush back to the laundrette fire, Jae-sik arrives first at the motel, where he confronts Sung-a with a rifle. Sung-a, cornered and desperate, admits to killing Si-hyun and taunts Jae-sik into killing Young-ha. Just before Jae-sik can act, Bo-min arrives, but chaos erupts when Sung-a shoots Bo-min. In a bloody confrontation, Jae-sik shoots Sung-a in the leg and later in the head, causing her to bleed out in the swimming pool. Young-ha is left stunned, realizing the chances of finding Si-hyun's body are lost. After Sung-a's death, Ui-seon wakes up in the hospital, mourning her loss. Bo-min, reflecting on the empty feeling left by her colleague's death, eventually visits Gi-ho, recognizing a link between the guns used to kill Sung-ga and Hyang-cheol. Despite knowing the cases are connected, she accepts that no answers will come. In the final scenes, Young-ha plans to sell the motel, and Ui-seon, who didn't lose her baby, finds hope. Bo-min lets go of the case, and Young-ha, reflecting on his past silence, realizes it allowed Sung-a to get away with the murder. The story ends with him contemplating the consequences of his actions.